Cobber head coach Terry Horan. 2012 season's already upon us. I know it's hard to believe. Talk a little bit about the first weeks of preseason training camp. What you've been most surprised and happy with?
Well, it's been exciting. It's always great to get back into the mix of it, and we got 124 young men that are really working hard, and I guess a lot of positives. I guess it's just us gelling as a team. I mean, that's chemistry is so important in the game of football and with any sport really. And if you don't have it, you're going to have an up and down, a rocky road. And so I know our seniors have really striving to make sure that that happens. Other things offensively. Obviously, the big position for us to fill is quarterback, and we were really pleased with the three young men that battled it out. And Griffin Neal has been named our starter, and he's really done a nice job. He's led our offense. He's got a great arm. He's athletic. He reads the option very well. He's a bright quarterback, and I see him having a bright future ahead of him. So that was kind of our key position offensively. Defensively, it's just we've got some veterans, and it's building depth because our depth is very green. It's very young, and they're coming. We're still not where we need to be there, and I think for those younger guys, learning from the veterans is going to be very important, especially these next few weeks.
Defensively, it's got to be a positive. You returned 9 starters on the defensive side of the ball. Talk a little bit about the standouts, Bryce Henches in the defensive back, and also Mark Wycor, and a couple linebackers, Matt Menkenink specifically, what they bring to the table.
Well, leadership and game experience. I mean, you look at our 2 inside linebackers, and Matt Menkenink and Pete Vidston. Those guys have played a lot of football for us, and Mark Wycor, who's just been a force at nose, and we got a young up-and-coming young man by the name of Carl Nelson, too, that's really been taking some good solid reps at nose, too. That's done a great job. But Bryce Henches is so athletic, probably one of the best safeties we've had, and that's, I know, big words, but he sees the field very well and does a great job. And those guys are our leaders. They really are, and that's why they need to do a great job, too, of teaching our young guys the ropes.
Back to the offensive side of the ball, Tom Knowlton, offensive tackle, named a preseason All-American. Just talk a little bit about the offensive line and how well they've gelled in the last year and a
They really have. These guys are super tight, and I always say this. I think our offensive line is always the tightest group within our team, and as a head coach, you like that. I mean, all these guys have seen a lot of playing time. They're great friends. They work out hard together. But Tom Knowlton, he's a special one. Preseason All-American, and rightfully so. We're hoping for big things out of him, anchoring our offensive line. He's got great frame on him, good size. He's piqued some interest from some of the NFL teams, but he's got. We're hoping for big things out of him this year, no question about it.
Let's go now to your opening game. You open against Jamestown at Jamestown on Saturday. They've already played a game.
Right.
What do they excel at? What are their strengths?
Well, they have had a game under their belt, and that's always makes any team that hasn't played yet really nervous, just because you learn a lot in game 1, and you make your biggest changes between game 1 and game 2. So, and obviously it's a home opener for them, so they're gonna want to try to rebound, and listening and hearing from their coach Sean Frank, who's in his first year. He talked about most of their mistakes in game 1 are all fixable, and we saw that game on film, and they received a game of ours too, but they do a lot of things, and they'll bring some problems to us. Obviously, they've got a solid defense, and Sean Frank, he's not new to Jamestown. He's been their defensive coordinator since 2008. So we're expecting a lot of similarities there. Offensively, Tim Belmore is their offensive coordinator, who served UND as their wide receiver coach for the last 10 years, and he's in his first year. They've got some weapons there. They've got some really good backs, I think, and they've got some really good receivers as well. So there's a mix of really solid athletes. They're always a team that's been one of the top teams in the old DAC conference. You think of the DAC conference, you think of Jamestown, Dickinson State, and Valley City State as being the top 3, and so we're gonna have our hands full.
Talk about your goals for the first game of the season, just about what you want Concordia to take out of that game.
You know, I think every coach in the country would tell you you're probably not ready to play, and we're not. You know, we're getting there, but we're not. And but we need to play. We got to go see somebody else and see what we're made of. And I just, you know, I want to see our kids play hard. That's been a staple of our program. Our kids will play hard. I want to see our kids have a mistake-free game, and that's hard to say because game one there's going to be a lot of mistakes. You just hope they're not costly mistakes. And then, so you know, both sides of the ball. We want to take care of the ball. We want to do our thing, and defensively, you know, we need to be fundamentally sound. They like a quick, short passing game, and we got to be able to tackle. That yards after catch is a big stat, and we don't want it to you know, we don't want it to be big. And then special teams always early in the year is a big part of the game, and you know, we have some new specialists in camp, and I'm pleased to say and also feel very comfortable in what they've been doing. So that, you know, going back to one of your earlier questions of where, you know, some pleasant surprises and some things like that, I think our kicking game is one that I was losing sleep over the summer, and I'm feeling pretty good with that right now, and I hope they can continue to improve.
Good luck on Saturday.
Thanks, Jim.